This show is presented by Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute.
On today's show, we'll check out the highlights from the DeLand versus Mandarin in high school football, sponsored by Baker Sports. We will speak with Bulls head swim coach Peter Verhoff, sponsored by the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute. Our athlete of the week is Chloe Ilano from Bishop Kenny High School. We will also check out an interview with the First Coast YMCA CEO, Eric Mann. We'll sit down with the cheer team from Ponte Vedra High School. And lastly, we'll look at highlights from Trinity versus Ponte Vedra in football. We'll be right back. It's time for ITG Next. I'm Haley Rash.
And I'm Nathan Dean. We'd like to take this time to thank our sponsors, the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute, Baker Sports, and the First Coast YMCA.
Sports can be played as hobbies, just for fun, professional, or for fitness.
And a lot of these sports have gained huge followings around the world over the years. Today we'll be talking about the most popular sports ranked by worldatlas.com.
Coming in at number 5, we're going to be talking about a sport that you can play pretty much anywhere with just a net and a ball. We're going to be talking about volleyball next. With an estimated following of 900 million fans, volleyball is most popular in Western Europe and North America. The sport was invented in the United States by William Morgan in 1895. He developed the sport by borrowing elements from tennis, basketball, and baseball. Volleyball is also the most popular sport in developing countries such as Brazil, Turkey, and South Korea.
What's your experience with volleyball?
I love volleyball. I've been playing it since the 6th grade, and then once I was in high school, I went back to my middle school and I helped coach those girls.
That's awesome. My senior year, I learned how to play volleyball, and at the end of the year, my team won the volleyball tournament in our gym class. So not to brag, but I feel like I'm pretty experienced.
It's a fun sport and really one of my favorites.
Coming up at number 4 is a sport that has gathered about 1 billion fans around the world, and that sport is tennis. Different versions of tennis are believed to have been played by the early Egyptians, Romans, and Greeks, but the modern version that we know today originally began in France. From France, it spread to other parts of Europe and eventually the whole world. Today, professional tennis players can compete as an individual or with a partner. People all over the world can tune in to all 4 Grand Slams to check out the action: the Australia Open, the French Open, Wimbledon, and the US Open. Tennis has an estimated fan base of 1 billion people.
Tennis is a super fun sport. I used to take a few lessons. I wasn't the best, but I was pretty good at it on the Wii.
Yeah, I was never a big tennis player, but like you said, Wii tennis, Mario tennis, any of those tennis games I was pretty good at, but not the actual tennis.
Yeah, behind the screen we're good at tennis, but it's crazy that recently a 15-year-old girl named Coco Gauff, also known as Corey, beat Venus Williams in Wimbledon.
That was a huge upset for her and one of the biggest stories around sports this year. So props to her, and continues the growth of the sport of tennis.
Coming in at number 3, we're going to be going over an interesting sport that has a twist with soccer. Number 3 is field hockey. Field hockey has an estimated global following of 2 billion fans. This sport is mostly played in Europe, Africa, Asia, and Australia, but was first played in England in the 1800s. The game is very similar to soccer, except that the players use sticks instead of their feet to drive the ball. Field hockey is known simply as hockey in most countries. However, it is called field hockey in Canada and the United States because ice hockey is more popular in those countries. In Sweden and Norway, the sport is known as land hockey. Whatever the name may be, the sport is extremely popular and still growing.
You don't see much field hockey around here in Jacksonville, but it's definitely a global sport and one of the most popular ones out there.
It is fun, and I like the term land hockey instead of field hockey because it literally is just hockey on land.
That's right. Well, coming at number 2 is a sport that dates all the way back to the 16th century, and that sport is cricket. Now, cricket's primary influence is in the United Kingdom, where the sport originally began. After beginning in the 16th century, it was made a national sport in the 18th century. The sport is characterized as 2 teams of 11 players each, and the object of the game is to score more runs than the other team. The sport is very popular in the British colonies such as India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Australia. Cricket has an estimated following of 2.5 billion people worldwide.
Not going to lie, I do not know what cricket is. I've heard of it, slightly seen it maybe on movies and stuff, but I'm not familiar with this sport.
Yeah, cricket's not very popular in the United States, but a lot of people relay it to kind of like a baseball type of sport. But I mean, the ball bounces on the ground and it's a paddle rather than a bat. So there's some similarities, but you see more baseball here in the United States.
Coming in at number 1, I'm sure all of you have heard of this iconic sport, soccer. This sport has a following of about 4 billion people worldwide, which is estimated the half of the world. Ancient soccer, or football in most countries, has been tracked back all the way to the 2nd century in China. The early Romans, Greeks, and Japanese were also thought to have created this sport. Contemporary soccer began in England, where it grew a mass following and quickly spread to different parts all over the world. The sport is most popular in Europe and in the United States.
And soccer is actually one of my personal favorite sports, as I played it a lot growing up. Huge Manchester City fan for the Premier League, and recently in the U.S., the women did something for our country.
Yes, our video of the week is of the women's United States team. They are the world winners of the FIFA Women's Champion. Congratulations, ladies.
And our photo of the week this week is Roger Federer, a legendary tennis player who is at this week's Wimbledon.
And now we're going to check out the highlights from the DeLand versus Mandarin in high school football, sponsored by Baker Sports.
This week we're at Mandarin High, who is hosting the DeLand Bulldogs for the first week of the playoffs. We had the opportunity to talk to Coach Ramsey.
I expect a tough, hard-fought one. I mean, we played these guys once. It came down to the very end, and we don't expect anything different tonight. Not much has changed really with both teams as far as what they do, and you're further in the season, so we're probably both a little bit better at certain things, and at the same time, we both have a couple injuries. So, I think whichever team probably can navigate through that the best will be the one that wins. It's funny. We weren't a very good home team until about a few weeks ago. We finally won one at home, then we won another one. So hopefully we're starting to play better at home. I think playoff atmosphere, regardless, doesn't really matter where you're playing. That sense of one and done, you got to win to play another game. I don't know that it really affects exactly where you're playing the game, but hopefully we've had a little bit less adversity to deal with, not having to travel today, and hopefully that helps us out.
It was high energy out on this field tonight, and Mandarin was able to pull out a win at home. They'll be advancing to the next round.
The Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute is home to many amazing team doctors here on the First Coast. They work closely with the Bowl School of Jacksonville. The ITG Next team was able to sit down with head coach Peter Verhoff of the Bowls swim team. We got to learn about his first season with the team, expectations for the season, and players to be looking out for.
I am Peter Verhoff. I am the head coach of the Bowl School swimming and diving program, the aquatic director here at the Bowl School. Started here in January and just really excited for this upcoming season. I swam collegiately at the University of Georgia, go Dogs. I stayed a couple years to swim as a post-grad, so I got to swim in 2 Olympic trials, represent the USA on the national team. Certainly helps to have gone through the process of being a swimmer and just understanding what it feels like, the fatigue you get day to day, and perhaps the grind that we kind of go through and understand how they're feeling, how I can come in and kind of match them. What do they need today? What do they need to hear from me is going to get them through the next week, or what do they need to hear for as far as encouragement goes that they don't really see yet. They haven't seen, or they don't see the end of the road or the end of the process yet. So we focus a lot on process, and we focus a lot on doing the right things on a day-to-day basis. For me, I've got the experience to see the end result of that process, whereas for them, they don't know what that is yet. So to be able to kind of cast that vision forward and tell them what that's going to look like when they get to the end and kind of encourage them that way, that's a huge part of my experience kind of coming through as a student athlete. It was a real honor, honestly. I was honestly shocked to kind of get a call back and even be interviewed for the position. Just going and went through it. I met the amazing people that are here, the administrators, the coaches, the athletic department. Just everybody's here because we really want to create an excellent experience, all the way through. And we don't want to just be pretty good at things. We want to be really good. We want to be exceptional in all of our fields and what we do, whether you're a teacher, you're staffing in the dining hall, you work on our grounds. I mean, everybody here has done a great job of trying to be the best they can. And it really shows in all of our programs. So to be a part of that is amazing. The history of the swim program here is phenomenal. To say that I'm following behind Coach Troy and Coach Sergio and so many others is just, you got to pinch yourself a little bit, and at the same time, it's a great responsibility. So it's really helped me raise my game and say, hey, I need to be better than where I was in order to take this program where it can be. And so it's forced me to kind of learn a little bit more about myself and learn a little bit more about what I need to do to be a better coach. So this program can be the best that it can be. Florida's been great. We came from Charlotte. My family and I love Charlotte. I've got 2 young boys, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, my wife Kristen. We really like Charlotte, but we were excited to come on a new adventure here, and we really like the Jacksonville community. Just a lot to do, a lot of outdoor space, beautiful homes, and just everybody's been really, really friendly and fun to be around. So we've enjoyed it. We're excited to get through the summer and get back into the school year, and looking forward to the Georgia-Florida game in October, I think. So it'll be fun to be down here and be a part of all that, kind of in a new community.
My name's Chloe Liano, and I go to Bishop Kenny High School and I play soccer. My most memorable moment is probably like 4 years ago. I was on a team at Clay County, and we made it to like a Disney showcase or a tournament, and we were in the semifinals, and we had to win this game to make it to the finals. So we were tied the entire time. We ended up going to PKs, and my coach picked me to take the first one, which is always like the most nerve-wracking one. And I made it, and so we ended up winning that game. We made it to the finals. Well, my parents have been like a huge help, obviously driving hours and hours to get to Akana tournaments. And that's like my biggest source of support. And also my sister, we've been playing together. I was 3 years old when we started playing. Ever since I really started watching soccer, I feel like, well, it used to be Julie Johnson, but Julie Ertz now. She's been a huge inspiration for me because it's not necessarily on the field, but off the field, she's just a great person, She's a great inspiration for female athletes as well. The one thing I did do, which is kind of different, is I kicked on the football team in the past for my high school. And I think I would do that again because it wasn't something I thought I would do. I never thought I would be kicking on a football team. But when I did it, I not only enjoyed it, but it was really hard at first because, not only the sport being hard, but adjusting, wearing these huge pads and, a helmet. It's different because in soccer we're wearing cleats and shin guards and that's about it. It's easy to move around, but in football, it's a lot more mental to studying all these kind of plays and stuff, and knowing what you're doing when you're doing it. So that it took a lot of practice, but it was really fun, so I liked it. My name's Chloe Liano, and I'm living in the game.
Well, the First Coast YMCA is always coming up with ways for the community to have some fun and enjoy a healthy lifestyle. Well, we got to sit down with First Coast YMCA CEO Eric Mann, who talks about his start of the Y, how he stays active, and much more.
Joining me today is Eric Mann, CEO of the First Coast YMCA. Eric, thanks for being here.
Well, thank you for being here.
Of course, the YMCA continues to grow. I mean, you guys, when you think of YMCA, you think of community, and, just tell us a little bit about, for the viewers that are watching, the mission of the YMCA and what you guys are committed to doing.
Yeah, we are the community. The YMCA reflects the values of the community, but we've been in this community now over 110 years. And we talk about youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility, but it's really about building the foundation of a good community. And that's what we want to be, as a great partner in building a strong Jacksonville through our programs, whether it's with families, with kids, with seniors, with our corporate partners, people like yourself. We coming together, collaborating is what makes Jacksonville a great place to live.
Well, I know we were talking before we got on air, and you really embody a lot of what you're doing here at the YMCA. You work out every morning, you've got a group. Talk a little bit about your routine.
Well, it's very hard to talk about wellness if you don't lead. And for me, it's a personal passion, but it's also, I'm trying to take care of my health. And so as the leader of this organization, I think it's part of kind of walking the talk and working out every morning, trying to hit my health goals like everybody else. So it's a lot of fun. Working for the Y makes it a little easier, but at 6 o'clock in the morning, it's still, you got to get up and make it happen.
Well, it's great to know that clearly you're leading a company and you're involved and passionate about the mission. And if somebody's watching this and they want to get involved, that's the other great thing about the YMCA. You pretty much have a program for anyone. If you've been exercising all your life, or if you just decided, hey, I need to start now.
You're a beginner. We have all the above, from infants all the way up. We're in 5 counties. We've got over 14 different locations. We're opening a new branch down in World Golf Village. We're opening a new teen center on the north side of our Johnson Y. We'll soon be starting construction with the Y up at Wildlight in Nassau County and Yulee. We are growing as an organization, but it really reflects Jacksonville. Most people don't realize we're getting about 3,000 new people a month moving into our community. And so we reflect how do we continue to be relevant and serve all our community.
Well, a lot of opportunities. I recommend the YMCA to anyone. Hey, if you want to get involved, get to one of the locations, get involved, and who knows, you may run into Eric somewhere.
It's possible, but I would say that we're a local organization. We're locally governed. The board is great. All the resources stay right here in our community. So we're not sending the money anywhere. Everything that we do stays in Jacksonville to help Jacksonville.
Well, that's great. Well, Eric, thanks for being here today. I look forward to catching up with you again sometime, and like to hear about how the big ride goes after the birthday.
All right, thank you very much for all you do. In Game Magazine, it's a great publication. We love partnering with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And at our recent player profile, we got a chance to sit with so many great athletes here in Northeast Florida.
We were able to sit down with the girls from Ponte Vedra High School cheer team. We got to learn about their upcoming season, their favorite memories, and how they live in the game.
Let's check out those interviews now.
I'm Reagan McCarthy. I'm a cheerleader for Ponte Vedra High School.
And I'm Brianna Leonard. I'm a cheerleader for Ponte Vedra High School.
We just got back from UCA camp, and
it
was a cheer camp that we went to down at UCF, and it was kind of with our whole team, but we just made so many inside jokes.
There were a lot of inside jokes with Instagram memes that we would do, and our coach started doing them, so it was really funny.
And our whole team's just basically a family, and we're all sisters, so we just are always so close, which is nice. My most memorable moment was last season. We got third in the state, and it was our first year back competing, and we all worked so hard this season and just gave it our all. And we weren't really expecting to win anything. We just wanted to go out there, have fun, leave everything on the mat, and we ended up getting third, and it was one of the best feelings. We were all so happy.
My most memorable moment was probably states too, just because we worked all year for it, and then we ended up hitting our routine and just knowing we did our best performance that we could have done. So even though we didn't win, it was still just a really great feeling that we all get to have.
My biggest sports inspiration is Simone Biles, the gymnast, because her story, I really liked how her grandparents became her parents. So she hasn't always had the easiest life outside of the gym, and sometimes inside the gym because she had to work her hardest and had her struggles, but she always pushed through and worked her hardest because she wanted to go to the Olympics, and she ended up reaching her goal. So I just loved her dedication and how hard she always worked.
My biggest inspiration would be Shawn Johnson, because ever since I was a little gymnast, she always reminded me of herself, so I've just always looked up to her ever since.
I live in the game by always showing up to practice with a positive attitude and supporting my teammates and showing them that I believe in them and I have confidence in them so that they can believe in themselves and have confidence in themselves.
I think I live in the game by just coming to games and practices prepared, and also just showing respect towards my teammates and coaches and just encouraging everyone.
Who's helped me the most would have to be my parents, because they've just always been there and supported me and done anything I needed to help me work my hardest and reach my goals. And anytime I've ever been down on myself or gotten frustrated, they've always been there to kind of have my back and help me get where I needed to be and get that confidence that I needed.
Who's helped me the most would be my mom, because she's just supported me for every decision I've made regarding sports and just always been there for me every step of the way. My name's Brianna.
And my name's Reagan.
And we're living in the game.
Be physical, be physical. Play smart, play smart. Ball set up.
We hope you enjoyed today's show. A special thank you to our sponsors, the First Coast YMCA, Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute, and Baker Sports.
And be sure to check out our What's Next segment on our YouTube page, where we got to sit down with some of the members of this year's Nice women's basketball team.
Make sure you follow us on all of our social media platforms. You can find us at ITG Next.
And if you have an inspiring story, feel free to reach out to us on those social media platforms, as we'd love to share your story.
Make sure you check out our apparel collection and our most recent launch of the Jacksonville collection. You can check those all out at itgnext.com. I'm Haley Rash.
And I'm Nathan Dean. Thank you so much for watching this edition of ITG Next.